Tansei friends, thank you for joining me for Storytime today. Yesterday, we read a story called One Wild Christmas. It was a story about a bear, a moose, and a beaver who found the perfect Christmas tree, but they couldn't decide what to do with it. Were they going to cut it down and bring the tree home? Or would they decorate it right there in the forest? Today, we're going to read that same story, but I'm going to teach you the Cree name for the animals in the book. So, in Cree, we would say bear is muskwa. Can you try? Muskwa. Good job. And a moose in Cree is mooswa. Mooswa. And last, the beaver. The beaver is a misk. A misk. All right, friends, we're going to read the story now. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the pictures. All righty. One Wild Christmas, written and illustrated by Nicholas Oldland. Let's take a look. There once was a muskwa, a mooswa, and an amisk, whose very favorite time of the year was Christmas. On their first Christmas Eve together, the three friends were busy preparing food, hanging their stockings, putting up lights, and wrapping presents. Everything had to be done to perfection. But when they turned their attention to trimming the Christmas tree, they suddenly realized they had forgotten the most important decoration of all. Quickly, the mooswa and the amisk rushed out into the forest. The muskwa followed close behind. First, they came across a maple tree. Says the mooswa, too small. Next, they saw a birch tree. Too white, said the amisk. Then they bumped into a towering cedar tree. Too big, said the muskwa. None of the trees were quite right. Finally, they found a pine tree. It was sweet-smelling, had long, soft needles, and was just the right size. Now that's a beautiful tree, said muskwa. And look what's in the tree, friends. Can you see that right there? Little red piasis, little red bird. But to the muskwa's horror, the amisk went to chop down the tree. The muskwa loved all living things, especially trees, and this was the most beautiful tree he'd ever seen. The three friends had a big problem. There was no way the muskwa would let the amisk and the mooswa harm this tree. And the amisk and the mooswa were not about to let the muskwa get in the way of their perfect Christmas tree. Charge, said the amisk. Oh no, look what's happening. It was a short argument. The mooswa and the amisk were no match for the muskwa's strength. The muskwa was happy the tree was safe, but he worried that his love of trees might ruin their Christmas. Then he had an idea. The muskwa grabbed his sled and raced home. Back at the cabin, the muskwa gathered all the food, decorations, and presents and carefully loaded everything onto his sled. The muskwa's journey back proved a little more difficult, probably because the sled was so heavy. Look, he's going up, up, and then he falls down. But he gathers all his belongings back and pulls his sleigh up the other side of the cliff. The Mooswa and the Amisk were relieved to see their friend, and as soon as they saw the sled loaded with presents, food, and Christmas decorations, they knew exactly what the Muskwa had in mind. Together, the friends set the table with all the food, arranged their stockings, hung the ornaments, and placed the presents under the tree. Then, when they were all done, they had a snowball fight. At last, the Muskwa, the Mooswa, and the Amisk were ready to celebrate. Not only did they agree that this Christmas was perfect, but it was also the perfect Christmas tree. The end. What did you guys think of that story? I know we've already read it once before, but it's always good to read stories a couple times because you know what? The more you practice reading a story, the better you get at telling the story. So go ahead, re-listen to this video and listen to the story again. Maybe you can even put the sound on mute and then you can tell the story to a grown-up in your home. They'd be so excited to hear your version of the story. Thanks for tuning in guys. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. We'll see you later. Ex Maga.